All right, so you wanted to have a quick look at how I use Foundry with Coriolis. I've been doing this for a little bit now. I've been running 6 or 7 sessions on this. So just sharing a few impressions. This is a setup for 2 groups. It's going to be a bit confusing in a minute, but hopefully it will all make sense. So let's have a look. In the chat, you can see what a normal session looks like. A lot of failures, a lot of rolls without any successes, just black, but that's just Coriolis for you, apparently. So I've got my welcome screen here. This is the first landing screen I would welcome my group onto, and I've got the characters here that are taking part in this session. And I've got the character sheets also collapsed, so up here, you can see that. If I double click on them, I just get the expansion for it. Usually I try to keep them on top, so I don't have to go and find them from an icon or something. It's a good way of managing a screen real estate. So I set up a few scenes to help me. I've got my calendar up here as well, which is configured to my version of it. I invented some days of the week, but that allows me to keep track of the game's calendar. I created the star map from the PDF. So on here, I then have the ability to put their ship and remember where they are. I also annotated some stuff, and you can see with the overlays here. This is pulling from World Anvil. That's the integration that's available. So about a year ago, I put a lot of this information for the players onto World Anvil. They didn't use it, but now it's integrated into this interface. They actually do refer to it sometimes. So that's quite nice. You can hover, or if you double click on it, you get the full article as well. Yeah, especially for me, that's very useful. Right, so I don't have to always flick through all the books I've got. I've got up here also the local region we're currently in. And here, this is where they currently are with their ship. You can see it zooming around. They're currently going to investigate the truth about Station 18, which is an old adventure I just translated from Swedish. It's basically the precursor to Dark Flower, and you can get it on DriveThru if you want to. It's pay as you want. If I double click on here, you'll see that I used the PDF Foundry or PD Foundry as to integrate a form fillable PDF. This gives you, I haven't filled it completely in for this crew yet, but it gives you the information about what the ship has installed. You can change it here. What I have not quite worked out yet is if I put the energy points up here, my 5 and hull point 6. Yeah, what I would hope is that it actually saves them. Yeah, so if I go close now and go back in, unfortunately they are gone. I haven't quite worked out why that is. But you can also see on the overlay here what I'm hoping for. I would want to display on my icon of the ship the energy points and the hull points. Currently doesn't do that. It does that on my player characters though, so hopefully I'll find a way. This is the asteroid base that they're currently hovering around. So I've got this sort of storytelling background, let's call it that way, and a little bit of diagram to explain what's going on where and what I can find where. Yeah, this is all from another module I just translated on a source book called the Rimward Reach, Djachroum, and the Rimward Reach. Again, you can find that on DriveThru. Right, what else have I got? You can introduce deck plans here. Yeah, this is a scenario I'm going to run in a couple of weeks or so for German Con. But you can use these not as battle maps so much, but you can easily use these as keeping track where the crew members are. You can place them around. You can see who's where and who's encountering whom. And if the crew want to find out more about that particular ship, I've got the pictures down there as well. Again, I've created a journal entry and linked it in that explains the ship, the stats, and what's on every level of the ship. So I don't always have to say, oh, what was it again? And they can read what's where. It's much more GM friendly, let's put it that way. I also have done here the little Coriolis card deck. This is for the card support module, I think it's called. So I can actually use this to draw cards and so on. I'll show you that a bit later. In case we have any battle or I need them for storytelling. I've got proper battle maps here as well. This was quite fun. So for example, I've got my one character here, starting at this end of the map. I had this little creepy charab, which is like a very creepy genetically modified child hiding behind here. And that was really good fun when I played it with the guys. They came in and I would click across here and just have it peek out a little bit, and somebody would notice it and say, "What's that?" And immediately it hit again. So if a battle came to be here, yeah, they shouldn't really attack these guys. But if it were so, go on, get me. Where's my other guy? There, so I can see each other. Yeah, what you can easily do, I've got the character here. The player typically would do the same. You go to their weapons, you would say, all right, he's going to attack with a stun gun. Click on there, no modifier. Rolls the dice. Don't think there was a success in there. So failure, he doesn't want to fail, so he's going to pray to the icon. Re-rolls, still a failure, but I automatically get a darkness point attributed to myself. That's a GM. So that's quite neat. If he were not so inept and he had actually caused some damage, what you could easily do is you click on this guy, you can change the hit points here, or you can actually use the overlays down here, and you can say, okay, instead of 3 points, he's now got -1. And what does it do? It calculates it for you. So that's neat. I like that. So I've always configured the health points and the mind points on each character, and you can see them in the overlay as well, like this, without having to right-click on them. Right, cards, very briefly while I'm here. If you go to the cards, you have to go to the tile layer. Sorry, wrong button. You can dish out cards or you can draw cards. So I could, for example, say, let's shuffle the deck. Every player gets 1 card. They don't get replaced. Yeah, once they're out of the deck, they're out of the deck. And then what it looks like for them, hang on, draw 1 card. I then get my card down here, and that's my initiative order. So for example, I could say my initiative is 13. The player has another one. Okay. I then had this little module that allows you to reverse your order. And for example, I now say, okay, my guy had 13. He's still going before Jibril here. Yeah, that's how I manage the initiative. There's another way of doing it a bit quicker. I've got a macro down here to pull a card from the icon deck. Click on there, it comes to the chat, and if everybody does that around the table, you get the numbers here, 32. That's my initiative. And if you want it for storytelling purposes, yeah, a ship appears, and you can still see all the pictures. You can still do that as well. Right, so that's that one. Here's another battle map which I pre-configured. By the way, this map and the one before, they are done in Dungeon Fog. Quite neat for that. But yeah, I've got an automated turret here waiting for them. I've got a big bomb they have to disarm before it goes off. I've got the shot down opponents who tried to tackle the gun before but didn't quite make it. So that's hopefully going to be the set piece, the big encounter at the end of the scenario. Of course, don't tell my players that. Let me just remove some of this stuff, otherwise I get very confused. Right, and then finally, ship combat. I have been experimenting with this a little bit, how to best manage this sort of thing when you're not sitting around a table. So the way I'm doing this now is, let me just put them over there, is I've got my crew positions in these boxes around. This background is just done with PowerPoint, nothing special. I then assign my crew. Yeah, they assign themselves to the positions as usual. That doesn't change often. And then we go through the whole thing. So we will, for example, get to the captain's order phase. He decides what he wants to do, and say he gets 3 successes on his command roll, and he says, okay, I want to evade this time. So he just puts the +3 there. If he doesn't know what he's able to do because we haven't played for a while, he can just hover over this little pin here, general pin, or you can double click it, keep it minimized by double clicking the title bar again, so he's always got it to hand. That works quite well. Then the engineer takes the energy points. These blue points here are the energy points. So you might say, we really need to attack this guy. So I'm gonna put 3 energy points to our weapons. We're not gonna move this time. I'm gonna put 2 to the data gen. All right, so we can then proceed. I do the same for the opponents with the red points. Yeah, I've got some opponents down here, some fighters that I made up. So we move through the whole turn. And if I can't remember, or they want to know about ship damage, how that works, I've created a pin down here again with excerpts from the rules. So we don't always have to go through the big PDF or the paper rulebook on my desk. So that's ship combat in a nutshell. What else have I got? Something I wanted to show you also, scenes I've created. That's nothing special really, but I've created some scenes which are for the world, some which are generic battle map, one on the ground, one on the space dock, and so on. For my scenario, the particular maps I need, or views I need, and that's for another scenario that's coming up. The actors, I created my crew folders up here. I've got some enemies in there. I just configure the ones I need. I don't have a big creature manual in there, and I created these letter numbers ones. So for example, all these tokens here with the energy points and so on, they're all actors really, but all there's to it is they've got an icon, and that allows me to manage that quite well. I wish not everybody needed to have a character sheet attached to them, but it works. I can just ignore that bit. So reference information. You can see that I've created a lot of entries here. They are basically straight from the rulebook. Yeah, they're items. So if I want a character, let's take a character, to have a particular item, yeah, I can just find it. I can go, it's the lie detector. He needs a lie detector. Right, there you go. Just drag and drop it, and he's got a lie detector with all the information behind it. So it tells you what it does, and if you go into the details here, it tells you how much it costs and all that. That works quite well, especially in character creation. Throwing together an NPC with that is quite swift. You can also use the search bar up here. I want a Vulcan PDW, yeah, drag and drop, doof, there he's got it. And if I want to attack from here, yeah, it will create a role for him. Gosh, he's inept. And automatically puts it in the chat with all the bonuses. Right, don't want to go into too much detail on here. Scenarios, I then create handouts, a folder, and I basically release these as they are relevant, so that the players always know where to find them. And then I've got my own plot entries, and these are just my own write-ups. Yeah, what's happening where and when, and it's linked to the handouts I might need. Okay, and then finally, yeah, music I don't really want to go into. I have not found that very useful yet, but the rollable tables, I created a table for my critical injuries. Yeah, so this is basically from the rulebook, keyed in manually. I've got a mission and planet generator linked here. Yeah, this is, I'm not sure this is going to work. Yeah, it does. So if I need it, I've got it there. I can just generate a new planet or a new mission. So that's a Google Sheet in the background here. Yeah, so that's back from the other tab. When I close the tab, of course, the whole thing stopped the recording. And then the way I use these tables, as I said, I can either do it via macro down here, bottom left, so critical injury will draw from the table. This is a very, very basic macro, hardly worth mentioning. Yeah, just get one, draw one from critical injuries, that's all it is. And then you can see down here, if you click on it, you get the detail behind it. Yeah, it's not a cascading roll, so the heal time is not automatically rolled or anything. I'm sure that's possible, but I haven't worked out how yet. And then we've got the other table that I created was the icon decks. Right, anything else worth mentioning? Oh, one thing that is actually quite neat is that you can have the word Anvil integration. So systems information on here, all this stuff is, I didn't key this in here at all. Yeah, I put it into World Anvil. You can see the little icon here. and you can browse it, you can navigate to there. And that for me is really quick reference information. Yeah, I can put it in the relevant bit of my story, I can put a link and click on it, and I've got everything I need. Right, I think that's probably as much as I need to show you at this moment, or as much as is useful. Got various handouts here, but yeah, that's so basic, everybody will know about it. If you want to know any more, or if you have got any tips or clues or hints for me, what I could be doing better or differently, then let me know. All right, thank you very much.